Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. I'm Raldaria. Clearly, a good day, a good start to the markets as well. We are trading above the 18,250 mark in terms of Nifty 50, gains of over 1% coming in there, and clearly outperformance coming in from Bank Nifty as well, hovering around the 43,300 levels. The advanced decline ratio, also, if you go to see, is pretty much in favor of the bulls with 41 advances and 9 declines coming in terms of Nifty. What's in store from here on is going to be important to watch out for, and to discuss the same. Joining us on the show today is Amar Singh, Head Advisory at Angel One. Amar, good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Yeah, very good afternoon.
Amar, overall, if you go to see clearly, the expectation was a positive opening in today's day of trade on the back of positive global cues. Now, is this an up move warranted, or do you see consolidation further on from here?
Yeah, I would say that Friday's move definitely caused some sort of panic. But if we look at the overall trend and the breadth of the market as well, so that's been somewhat very positive. So that's on the positive side. What we've seen is that across sectors, we are seeing stocks and stocks which are really leading the way, and they've been bouncing back significantly. Look at the advanced decline ratio as well. Looking at Nifty, I would say all the benchmark indices like Bank Nifty or Fin Nifty, what we see here is that there is definitely the trend is in favor of the bulls, and we are seeing that those who went short, they've got really hurt very badly. And technically speaking, the charts clearly point to a strong uptrend. And also, if you look at the derivatives data, so we see that there has been consistently long build-up happening. There was a short build-up also, but that was, I would say, marginal. But overall, the trend has been in favor of the bulls. Now, looking at the long-term charts, if I look at the weekly charts of Nifty and look at where Nifty is going to meet with the next zone of resistance. So for that, I would say somewhere around 18,450, 18,500. Currently, it's around 18,260. I'm talking about the spot Nifty. So clearly shows that there is strength, and also what we are seeing is that one of the technical indicators which has turned positive over the last couple of weeks, that clearly is a positive sign. So clearly shows that there is this bullish momentum which is likely to stay, as long as we don't see Nifty consistently trading below the 17,800 mark. So there could be some sort of volatility, but overall the trend definitely is positive. And one good aspect is that if we look at India VIX, so that also has been in or is currently in the comfortable zone, so somewhere around 12, 12.6. So clearly shows that there's not, I would say there's not much fear or panic or some sort of pessimism there in terms of the market. So that's one positive sign. For Nifty to sustain above the 18,200, 300 zone is going to be important. Sustaining above that level, then definitely 18,450, 500 is the level to watch out for in the short term.
Right. So that's with regards to where Nifty goes. But if you see in terms of Bank Nifty as well, the up move has continued. Now, on the higher side, the anticipation was that around 4,300 is likely to act as an immediate resistance, while on the downside, 42,500 is where we were seeing support. Today's session as well, if you see 43,300 is where we are trading at currently. What direction are you expecting Bank Nifty to take? Because clearly there are good amount of sells seen across the board as well.
Yeah, if you compare Nifty and Bank Nifty on the daily chart, the momentum for Nifty is stronger as compared to Bank Nifty. There's no denying the fact. Having said that, I would say still the favor is the markets are in favor of Bank Nifty. The bulls are in favor as compared to the bears. That's one. So what one needs to watch out for in Bank Nifty, I would say Bank Nifty has now got very strong support zone coming around that was Friday's low. That was around 42,500, 600. So that's going to act as a very strong support zone. And the resistance, if you look at 43,600 is a zone of resistance. So Bank Nifty comparatively has a smaller zone. So on the downside, 42,600, on the upside, 43,600. So that's the range. Consistently breaching the 43,600, then I would say then Bank Nifty would be headed higher towards initially towards 43,700, and then if we go back in time and then look at the December low, December highs, that was around 44,150. So there are two levels to watch out for Bank Nifty. One is 43,600, 700. That's the zone to watch out for. If Bank Nifty sustains over that level, then it's definitely moving towards its all-time high, which it had witnessed in December 2022.
Right. So that's with regards to Bank Nifty. Now, coming to individual stock-specific action as well. From here on, any topics that you have which you would want to recommend?
I would say that if we look at Reliance Industries among the heavyweights, this is one stock which was consolidating. So somewhere around 2,200, that was a very strong base. If I look at the long-term charts, when I'm talking about the long-term charts, I'm referring to the quarterly charts. That also continues to be strong and positive for Reliance. On the monthly charts, it's moved from oversold territory. On the weekly charts, the stock is displaying very strong momentum on the weekly charts, though it has moved in overbought territory on the weekly charts, on the daily charts, but still it shows that there is more bullish momentum to the stock. Only one level that one needs to watch out for Reliance for any major up move is going to be the current level. So 2470, I would say 2470, 2500 is the level to watch out for. Once Reliance sustains above that level, then it is headed towards 2600 levels. So that's one stock on the heavyweight side which one can definitely look at.
Right. So that's with regards to where Reliance Industries go. Moving on, if you see in terms of other counters, Marico, again, there are longs that are being taken on a Marico as well. What should the strategy be with the Marico?
Yeah, I would say if you look at Marico on the weekly charts was purely into a consolidation, because if you go back in time and look I would say in January 2022, so it had made a low of around 450 levels, and then it had made a high of around 550 in June of 2022, and then again. So clearly, and as recent as I would say April, it had made a low of 462, and currently it's around 530. So clearly, what is it telling me? It's telling me that it's in a consolidation zone. I would say now moving in favor of the bulls, but for any meaningful rally to happen in Marico, the stock needs to sustain about the 550, 560 zone. So 550, 560 zone is going to act as a very strong and stiff zone of resistance for Marico. So those who would be long, they look at booking profits around these levels. And once the stock sustains about the 550, 560 zone consistently, then you can expect the stock to rally towards its all-time high, which it had made in October 2021, somewhere around 600 odd level. So that's going to be the level to watch out for. So once above 550, 560, we could witness a 8 to 10% rally in the stock.
Right. From the financials as well, Amar, if you see Insys Bank, L&T Finance, Max Financial, all of these counters are also seeing bullish momentum in today's day of trade and taking the derivative data into consideration. What would your recommendation be?
I would say first talking about Insys. So Insys has been more or less a very range play. So if you look at it on the downside, somewhere around 1,000 levels, on the upside, somewhere around 1,200 levels, odd levels, 1250. So it's clearly a range play. Currently, it's in the mid of the range, 1125, 1130. Talking about the trend is more or less flat for the stock. So it's going to be better you play in this range. So you have a better opportunity. Talking about the other stock which you talked about, say for example, Max Financial. So Max Financial, we are seeing that the stock has been beaten down significantly. So if you look from January highs of almost 860, 870, it's currently around 660 or so. So it seems that it's forming a very strong base, because if I go back and look on the quarterly charts, so quarterly charts, the monthly charts are clearly telling me that the stock is at a very strong and crucial support zone. So there is a possibility that we could see a bounce back in the stock. And the bounce back, if I look at it, the bounce back is expected around 700, 720 zone, wherein again there would be selling pressure in the stock. But the short-term bias is now in favor of the bulls, but the overall long-term perspective, I would say, doesn't really display very strong strength for Max Financials.
Right. Apart from that, if you see stocks like Manappuram, RBL Bank and Bajaj Finance, these are seeing some, kind of short covering as well. So is this a signal of a bounce back on these counters?
I would say first talking about RBL Bank. So RBL Bank, if you look at the long-term charts, when I'm talking about the long-term, it's primarily the monthly chart. So clearly shows that the stock is in for consolidation. The stock did bounce back from the lows of 80, which it had made in July 2022. From there, almost it rallied to 190 odd levels. And currently it's around 150. So it shows, or it tells that there is some potential on the upside, but more or less it's going to be a range play. On the downside, immediate support zone is around 130. On the upside, resistance is around 190. It's around 150. So more of a range play. Talking about the other stock which you mentioned, Bajaj Finance. If I look at Bajaj Finance is in a different league altogether. So what we are seeing is that the stock has bounced back significantly from almost 5,600 levels to currently around 6,600 odd levels. On the weekly charts, the stock is strong. On the monthly charts, I would say the stock is more or less displaying that there is some sort of consolidation, but it has moved from its oversold territory on the monthly chart. So clearly shows quarterly charts are strong for the stock. I would say positive for the stock. So clearly tells me that there is more upside to the stock. And if I look at the levels to watch out for Bajaj Finance, so somewhere around 7,000, 7,200, that's going to be a level to watch out for. Sustaining above that level, then the stock has a potential to rally towards 74, 7,500. Immediately, the next zone of resistance is between 6,800 and 7,000. So this is a better, I would say, as compared to RBL. Right. And talking about Manappuram, if you ask me, so this is one stock, Manappuram Finance. What we're seeing is the stock has been beaten significantly in the past couple of weeks from almost 130 odd levels. It's currently around 110, more or less consolidation. Don't see much happening in the stock. It could be a range play.
And Amar, how are you looking at the Coal India as well as Adani Enterprises? Because both these counters are seeing a short build up in today's session.
Yeah, I would say Coal India is one stock which really has performed well over the past, I would say, few weeks since March. The stock rallied from almost 200 levels to almost 240. So 20% rallies been seen in the stock. The stock did correct. Today also we've seen some sharp correction in the stock. But the stock overall, if you ask me, the long-term trend for the stock remains positive. And but for any meaningful rally further to happen, the stock needs to sustain over the 260 to 65 mark. So that's one level to watch out for. On the downside, the stock definitely has found a very strong base around the 210 to 20 zone. The charts are positive for, I would say, Coal India. Talking about the other stock which you mentioned was Adani Enterprises, yeah. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So if I look at, so Adani Enterprises, it's more of, it's like when someone falls from a 4-story or 5-story, there's a lot of damage that happens. So it's more of the fall that we have witnessed in Adani Enterprises. It's more or less consolidation. It did bounce back, but again, if you see from 1890, currently around 1890 levels, the stock could rally to its recent high of 2100 odd levels, but it's more likely to meet with selling resistance and selling pressure there. So it's more of consolidation between 1500 and 2100 on the upside.
Right. Moving on, in terms of other counters, if you see, how are you seeing a Tata Motors today? Because good moves seen in terms of Tata Motors. The stock was up little over 4% the last time I checked, almost 5% up move coming in today's session. What is, I mean, if we're trading at 500 already.
I would say this is one stock, if you look at it technically, the stock is very strong on the charts, on time frame. So if you look at the daily charts, we saw that the stock did rally, if you look at it, from almost 400 levels to consolidate around the 480 mark, and today has been a sharp move, so almost 5% move we are witnessing in Tata Motors. On the weekly charts, the trend is extremely strong. So what it tells me that the intermediate term trend for Tata Motors is very strong. When I'm talking about the long-term charts, on quarterly charts, it's extremely strong. Monthly charts have been more or less, I would say, some sort of consolidation. That's the reason whenever there's a correction in the stock, that was more of a buying opportunity. Now, coming back on the long-term charts, what I see is that somewhere 500, 525, 535, because that's going to be the zone of resistance for the stock. So the stock definitely has a potential to rally almost 5-7% from the current levels. Once it takes out the 535, 540 mark, then the stock is headed higher significantly towards its earlier highs of 600 odd levels. Because technically the stock is very strong on the charts, so any pullback can be used as a buying opportunity. Now, as far as the support is concerned, the stock has got very strong support around the 450, 460 zone.
Right, so that's with regards to where Tata Motors is concerned. But overall, another one is in terms of ONGC. Good OI built up seen on the counter. The stock is also doing pretty well in trade. What would you advise on an ONGC?
I would say that looking at ONGC, ONGC continues to be positive on the chart. So on the short term, on the long term charts, the stock continues to be positive. Yeah, it has been. If you look at the charts over the last few weeks, so it was more of a consolidation from almost 150, 160 levels. It did consolidate towards 145. Again, it's around 165 levels. So the trend is in favor of the bulls. So one needs to remember that the long-term charts are positive for ONGC. So effectively, it means is that there is more upside to the stock if I look at the long-term charts. So there I find that somewhere immediate zone of resistance for the stock would be around 175, 180 level. That's going to be a zone of resistance where we could witness some profit booking. If it takes about 175, 180, then the stock is headed higher towards its March 22 highs of almost 190, 195 levels. On the downside, the stock seems to have now very strong support coming at around the 150, 145, 150.
Right. So I think a lot of stock specific action is what we are witnessing, Amar. Thank you so much for joining us on the show and giving us those views as well in terms of individual names. But clearly, if you see in terms of where markets are concerned, 18,271, sorry, 264 is what we're tracking in terms of closing on Nifty 50. We opened at 18,120, hit a low of 18,100. So it's almost 150 to 200 point rally range that we've seen. Bank Nifty as well, though we've ended below the 43,300 levels, but gains of 1.5% coming in there. So clearly outperformance coming in from the financials vis-a-vis Nifty 50. If you see in terms of individual action points, Insys Bank, Tata Motors, Bajaj Twins, as well as ONGC, these were the top gainers in trade today, whereas pressure was on with regards to Coal India on the back of numbers, Adani Enterprises, Sun Pharma with regards to the Mohali plant, Dr. Reddy's, as well as Britannia. These were the top losers as well overall. If you see in terms of Sensex, we've managed to close almost with gains of little over 700 points above the 61,750 mark in trade today. And clearly, if you see in terms of movers as well, a lot of movers and shakers coming in there, specifically on the losing end, Symphony, a 5.5% cut coming in there in terms of the earnings. Mirza International was under pressure, Bank of India was under pressure, Adani Transmission was under pressure, TCS and as well as AB Capital were two counters which were in focus in today's session. Marico as well on the back of earnings. So a lot of stock specific action is what we've seen in the markets. Overall, there is this underlying strength that we are seeing. But from here on, what's the direction that the markets are going to take is something that we are going to wait and watch and see, because clearly everyone is talking about consolidation from here on. And for how long the consolidation will continue or we will see an uptrend from here on is going to be anyone's guess. But clearly, there is good momentum as of now in terms of where markets are concerned. That's all that we have in this session. Thanks for watching and have a great evening.